Hey, it's me, your guide of light, trying to help us through the night. And I know it's been a minute, been a lot going on. But I just had a question. If I'm wondering if anyone else can see what's going on in society. The clear-cut picture, the separation between children from their parents, parents from the grandparents, their parents, the grandparents not associating with the young, and the young spending all their time online. Do you know who's raising your children? Do you know what they're feeding into their brains? Do you know why we have a gender identity crisis right now? Do you even consider the fact that they're being groomed to completely go against anything they have been taught to believe? I was raised a certain way. You were raised a certain way. I don't know how that is for you. I know how it is for me. I was taught morals and values and ethics and to fight for something that mattered, not for something that's trivial, something that's going to serve no purpose for the greater good. But now, today's generation, we're dealing with children that they're fighting over being pansexual, transsexual, bisexual, trisexual, them, they, him, her. It's all pointless. But yet we don't correct them because they're soft. They haven't been taught to take constructive criticism and grow from it. They haven't been taught to listen to their elders. They've been taught that the elders are stupid, racist, bigots, misogynistic. They're taught to completely turn the opposite direction. And I will say that started with me as a child. I started looking at my parents a certain way. And as I became an adult, one second. Sorry. As I became an adult, I completely turned my back against what my parents had tried to teach me. And some of it had to do with I got into a toxic relationship. And I've talked about before I was married to the devil. And I'll explain that even further. The devil being not that individual was the devil, but the demonic spirit that he possessed. We all have energies and spirits within us. You have your spirit, your soul, the thing that makes you feel whole and want to grow. But some people have been in their minds treated so badly that they carry this darkness to them. And it's almost like you're born with a clear spirit, and then as you continue on, it gets darker and darker and darker. And eventually you can see the hollowness in someone's eyes. You can see through their actions that they are completely possessed with something that is dark. And I've noticed that a lot in the kids of today because all they're wanting is time, affection, understanding, guidance. As much as they might fight you on the matter, they want to be directed in a way that they should go. And the only place that they're finding this direction is on media. Things that it's so far outside of their scope of understanding, but they feel they fit in. I watched my daughter be a very big supporter of the LGBTQ, and I'm supportive of her, so I don't explain things to her. I don't get in her business because I've always thought I raised them to be free thinkers, right? I've raised them to make their own choices. And with that, no matter what she chooses, she's going to have to go through the growth of life. She's going to have to become who she's going to become. And through those choices, there may be many, many trials and tribulations. We all have gone through that. My parents always told me, I can't tell you, you're going to have to learn for yourself. And it's funny because my kids are two very different people. One focuses on the now and wants something to fight for, which is why she's a supporter of a very I don't know the phrase I'm looking for. I want to say shunned society, the transgender world, where they're fighting to be seen. So she sees a battle, and to her that battle is worth fighting. And the only thing I've tried to impress upon her is, but what does that have to do with everyone else? It's okay to be who you want to be. Don't push it on everybody else. It's okay to make your choices. Understand you'll have consequences. And I think a lot of us forget that they need us. They need us to pay attention to them. And I'm even guilty of when they walk in and I've had a long day and I'm already looking at something on my phone or I'm doing something, I'll push them to the side. And then that drives them right back to that place that makes no sense. It's everything that's being manipulated and distorted. But if you look in what's going on in the world today, human trafficking has been a thing for as far back as our history goes, and even beyond that, I'm sure. So the children that are being groomed today to be insecure about themselves, to believe in the one thing that goes against society so everyone will fight them so they're not accepted. These are the things that they're looking at. This is a very dangerous situation in which we are in. We have no more children that are going to stand up and fight against things that are not fair, atrocious natures, price gouging to where you can't afford gas and food or your utilities or even the housing market just boom, and you can't afford to put a roof over your head and nobody coming to your aid. It's at a point to where it's almost like we don't, sorry, phone's ringing, that we don't realize what's going on. Because like I was talking to someone last night, consider the fact that you're born into a haze, a fog, right? And before you're able to think on your own, because you're blind, you can't even see. It takes you a while before you even begin to see in color. By the time you can see, you're being told what you see. You're being told how you feel, told how you act. And there's no understanding of yourself from yourself. It comes from an outside source. And as you continue to go, you're groomed. You're groomed to have careers and serve a government and believe in the stars in Hollywood and all the things that are shown to you. That's what you want to be. You're given these goals of the life you want to live, even though it's not something that you were necessarily born to desire. So then as you keep going and going, you're so blinded still that you're in a haze. And the person I was talking to said, "That's funny, I'm still in that." They're about to be 43 years old. And I said, "I know most people are. Most people won't see the reality of what has been in front of them until they're close to their deathbed." It's like I've always been an advocate for humanity and fighting against the evil and stopping modern day slavery. The concept that and I know this is going to offend a lot of people, take it or leave it. But the matter of the fact is, we get up, we work our lives away. We get money. They take a little bit of our money and they give us a big chunk of change in the end. And it's just a continuous cycle. We use that money that we're given to go and pay for our entertainment and survival. And then it just keeps going and keeps going. Eventually you get to a point where you get to stop. As long as you've built a nest egg big enough for yourself, you get to still play the game of life. Depending on how healthy or unhealthy you are, you can afford your health care or you're going to die a little bit sooner, which might be shortly after you get to retire. You never spend time with your friends. You never spend time with your family. You're always too busy trying to provide. But what's being provided is confusion, because it's a lack of presence, of not teaching, not seeing, not loving, embracing. And these are the sad aspects of life. So to keep going on the tale of modern day slavery, as I was in my 20s, my grandparents were in their 60s. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Me always fighting, or not fighting, but talking about the government, talking about corporations, talking about big business, talking about pollution and warfare and how everything is being wasted and there's no future for my children, for the next generation. And my grandmother asked me one time, "Why do you carry such a heavy weight on your shoulders? It's not your burden to carry." So, honey, it's not for you to worry about. And I could only respond, "I carry the burden because you chose not to, because the next generation chose not to. And I'm not going to sit back and watch the children continue to be contaminated in such a sense that they can't make sense of the world that they live in. Because if they can't make sense of the world that they live in, what begins to skyrocket? Lack of life. when that continues to rise, and it's not even just affecting the youth or soldiers that come home from war and can't make sense of what they just did. Why did I do that? You know, my grandfather fought in World War II, and he told my mom, he told my ex-husband too, I don't know exactly what it was for. Looking at the way society goes today, I don't see that there was any purpose in it, but that was the last war that we fought that had meaning. That war was fighting over the sense of people being just destroyed for who they were. Not even necessarily what they believed, but who they were, what they looked like, their appearance. And you're talking genocide that was accepted on a massive scale. And it's sad that so many people have stepped up to fight for things that matter, only to have people step back and go, you know what, I don't want to fight. And by us not standing up and pushing back and demanding, stop introducing children to individuals that don't have any purpose in leading them into a future. A good, successful, abundant life. And I'm not even talking wealth or monetary gain. I'm talking about the ability to hold their heads up, know that they're here for a reason, and start doing things that are helpful to Mother Earth. We forgot how to teach them how to plant trees. Instead, we've shown them how to harvest and build boxes. We have forgotten to teach them how to grow food. And as of yesterday, I read that they're now selling cellular grown chicken, which means you're going to now get chicken out of a petri dish. How is that going to affect your body? And these are just new things that are on the rise. We have transgender individuals going to meet like 7 and 8-year-old children, I guess that's elementary school, to introduce them to the fact that people are different. What happened to the We Are the World, the picture of the earth with all the colors of the children holding hands? What happened to the concept that, yes, we are different, but it doesn't mean we have to flaunt it. It doesn't mean that we have to go and bring things to children that make no sense in their mind. And the funny thing is, the video I watched about the transgenders being introduced to children at such a young age, the boys were fearful and the girls were just stargazed. Because little girls love Barbie dolls, little boys love G.I. Joes. That's another little social construct we've been taught to believe. The separation of the sexes. But now the little boys that find that, I don't like G.I. Joe, I like Barbie, now all of a sudden you've created a new type of wave in children. There goes back to that gender identity crisis. That they don't have to accept the hard times in life. That they can try to hide behind a mask openly. And this is at no point an attack on the LGBTQ. Because like I said, be who you want to be. That's fine. If we want to relate to children, we need to do it on a basis of who we are and bring ourselves forward. Not in the sense of who we are when we perform. Because it's okay to be different. I've always been different. I've been called the black sheep, an alien, all kinds of things. So be it. Glad you see my light. And I understand that that's what a lot of people are trying to bring to the table. Some sass, some flavor, some life. A little bit of fun, making life look like one big party, but the party's over. Because like I said, it's time to get back to teaching them how to plant the trees, how to grow their own food, because where we're going, where we're at, and the next step. I don't know if you've even seen the noises that are being heard around the world, and it sounds like gears grinding. And I'm talking all over the world. Canada, Switzerland, Germany, South America, even here in the United States. But these are the things that aren't shown to you on the news because they're too busy talking to you about poverty, bad cops, and war, and price gouging, and all the things that make you go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And as we say, oh my God, no one even realizes the time is coming. The time is coming for you to either get the picture or understand that there's a new picture that you're not a part of. Because like I told the person I was talking to last night, we sit here and we destroy Mother Earth on a regular basis. And the goddess that she is, she takes it. But at some point, you become a flea on the back of a dog. And what does that dog do? It's either going to shake you off or scratch you off. The rumbling, the storms, the chaos. I love the rainstorms at night, but they have greatly intensified from when I was a child. The lightning I saw the other night was, I thought if someone had epilepsy, that would cause a seizure. And then the rumbling that kept going after the light show. And it was very fascinating to see how much we've amped up our own destruction just by simply fighting battles that make no sense. Not fighting against the government, not fighting against the things that are on TV that should not be impressing upon our children who they want to be. But this is on us, because at some point, it's up to us to turn the TV off, because there's nothing on the TV. There's nothing that is going to educate you in a way that is going to set you free. The only thing that it does is sedate you into a point to where, I'm going to go about my life. Because I guarantee you, a lot of people don't watch TV on the weekends, but all through the work week when they got to stay in a drone state, Monday through Friday, there's a routine. And it's a routine of a walk of death. Because there's no living in that time frame. And then you have 2 days. 2 days to do everything that you wanted to do, think you could do, try to fit in a small little trip somewhere, go to the grocery store, clean the house, whatever it is. Rush, 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 rush. No time to even watch TV. Maybe get together, have a few drinks with your friends because you've watched TV all week long. And honestly, there's nothing on the weekends. They've designed it that way to make sure that you can sit, behave, get to work on time, make sure your bills are paid, and then you can have your fun time after your homework's done. And this is ridiculous that this is the world that we live in, because we could very simply live in a world that we only work 3 days out of the week and we get compensated fairly to where we can afford to live our lives. Have 4 days off so we could actually have a break from the overload, the overstimulation. But what's the point in that? People would have time to think. Then people would see the illusion of the picture of the reality in which they're living. Nobody wants you to catch on to the big picture. Because if you can see this world for what it is, you'd understand that there's a lot of those demonic energies, spirits that I was talking about that possess a lot of people. And the purpose of those individuals is to remind you who you don't want to be. They suck the life out of you. They drain you. They don't care about you. They discard you. They go on to the next light. So in a sense, there's this ongoing push and pull. If you look at it on a level of light, darkness and light have to coincide together. But where the darkness is trying to consume the light and the light is trying to illuminate the darkness, there's this struggle. There's always that gray area in the middle, the fog. Because that battle will always be there until we see it for what it is. And we accept the darkness and understand that the light can exist within it. That's where the heavens come into place. You see how the lights fit into the night sky, and it's beautiful. You don't see it so much anymore. It took me going to the third mesa, where the Hopi tribe is, to see the Milky Way. And this was 10 years ago because there was no light pollution. You have to travel to the farthest points of the world to even be able to see the magnetism that is around the world, to see the magic of nature. And it's amazing we have to travel so far because we have city, 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 city. Clear those trees so we can put more city, 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 city. But the only thing we're accomplishing is destruction. Destruction of the mind, destruction of the body, destruction of the soul. Destruction of the point of living. And all these years I've looked for love and I've realized I keep looking in the wrong place. I'm not going to find it in a world that's okay, destroying their young from birth, pushing them aside in their times of need, fighting with them about their opinions of the reality in which they are surviving. Because yes, times always change. That is change. It's going to continue to do that. And that change is uncomfortable for a lot of people that have found comfort in the old ways of doing things. But with that comes progress. And it's not even progress. It is just pushing further into the future to have mechanical means to make life easy. But those ways of making life easy have separated the household. So there's no life. Like I said, that takes you back to the pushing you to behave. It's even like that in the workforce. If you can look, there is a monetary reward after a certain period of time if you do what you're told to do. Now, going back to my parents, my grandparents, I'll pray for you 20 years ago. Now let's fast forward. They're getting close to not being here anymore. And they're starting to see the reality of the picture because they no longer are in the workforce. They have so much time to sit and think that even TV bores them today. They spend a lot of time sleeping. This is a meditative state that allows your mind to make sense of where you're at, how to process it. That's actually where the divine even comes down and starts bringing you downloads and messages that will help you to open up your mind to get closer to where you need to be, your higher self. So now that they've had all this time to sit and think without influence, now they're telling me things that I was telling them 20 years ago, and they were telling me I was all wrong. So at what point do we turn off the TV, open our eyes, open our hearts, and listen for the higher vibration? Because I'm not aware if anyone's even sure. I'm not sure if anyone's even aware that the music has changed. Do you know that the original scale was ah, ma, da, pa? Keep going. Now we're do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Different vibrations. The older vibration brought you close to the om, which is the sound of the universe. That's why you will, if you've ever seen anything about monks meditating, you'll hear the om, because they are singing the note of the universe. The thing that opens you up to that higher power, that higher energy that feels you and will help guide and direct you and navigate you on this plane, but through a higher understanding. Now we're in a world to where the music that's being manufactured is to manipulate and control. At some point, I hope everyone starts to realize this is a game of manipulation. Either you're going to see it and get out, or you're going to fall victim, and thus the process continues to repeat. Because slavery has always been a thing. There's always the fat cat that wants to do nothing and sit back. And it's funny because the ones that are enslaved are far more abundant in number than those that possess the control. Only thing is they have a small little army, often smaller than the people in which they control. What side are you fighting on? And who are you fighting for? I'm going to leave that there because I know that was probably way too much information. Sending you peace, love, and light, and I hope that you join the good fight. Have a good day. Bye-bye.